Moving on now, celebratory tributes characterized Dr. Motsuenyane's final send-off. The 97-year-old, affectionately known as the father of black business in South Africa, was laid to rest in Pretoria today. Khumalo reports.
Born in 1927 on a small farm in Potchefstroom, captains of industry, black business and political leaders showed praise on Dr. Motsuenyane, who was remembered as a simple but inspiring figure in South Africa.
Our first response is to remember the hymns. We know them off by heart. I reflect on that and I realize that they did one thing for us that's it cannot be compared to anything, because we know where to look for the source of life. We know where to look when we do not have answers. We know where to look when the difficulty gets going, because of Nkgono le Ntatemoholo having instilled that in us, and we are forever grateful.
He was a caring husband, a father, grandfather, uncle, advisor, peacemaker, a negotiator, a mentor and observer. Also a very intelligent man, servant of God, community builder, is no more. He was all and everything in one.
Rising to be a formidable businessman despite the obstacles thrown at him by the apartheid regime, Motsuenyane fiercely fought for more black entrepreneurs and businesses to emerge, especially in the agricultural sector.
Ntate Motsuenyane challenged the bank officials to say to them, lower the threshold of acquiring a loan from your bank. Because most of our black farmers do not own the title of the lands they farm.
Former President Thabo Mbeki echoed these sentiments about Motsuenyane, who co-founded the National African Federated Chamber of Commerce in 1964.
He told the truth and gave important guidance when he said in his testament of hope that the work that my colleagues and I did for NAFCOC during the 24 years of my presidency was not for personal gain. It was for the most part a personal sacrifice and was not done to generate wealth for any individual member. We built NAFCOC primarily on sacrifice, and it is important that our children do not forget where we come from.
The inaugural NAFCOC meeting in Soweto is where the idea of African Bank was born as a way to overcome the obstacle faced by black people in accessing funding. He and other founders put together 70 Rand on the day, about 8,000 Rand in today's value.
He saw banking as what it really was, a tool with which people could chisel away at their obstacles and carve out a better future for themselves. In that moment of clarity, he then realized that the banking was a tool of our people to transform themselves.
It took them about a decade to raise 1 million Rand for the African Bank venture to be born. That's about 62 million Rand in today's value. The very first branch of African Bank opened its doors in Ga-Rankuwa in the Northwest in 1975. Its first savings book was green to represent the journey from poverty to prosperity. Veteran businessman Ruwal Khoza says Motsuenyane embodied a South African who was focused on action and development of all people, the kind of leadership South Africa yearns for today.
We hail and applaud your legacy. Your deeds have emphatically spoken. May your soul transition to eternal greatness.
Motsuenyane, a Boy Scout since 1936, was elected National President of the Boy Scouts of South Africa in 1977, amid a divisive political climate in apartheid South Africa. Even in his non-agenarian years, Motsuenyane spearheaded farming through his Rural Development Foundation, and in his last days, he was actively encouraging young people to get involved in agriculture. Dr. Motsuenyane leaves behind his wife of 70 years, a son and grandchildren. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Khumalo in Pretoria.